Welcome to Bookpedia World, your ultimate destination for powerful book summaries, life-changing ideas, and practical knowledge. Let's dive into today's book. Have you ever looked at someone who's incredibly wealthy and wondered, what do they know that I don't? I mean, really wondered, not with envy but with curiosity. Because deep down, most of us feel that becoming successful isn't just about luck, connections, or being born into the right family. We sense there's something more, something hidden beneath the surface, a pattern, a mindset, a set of decisions that quietly shapes their journey. And that's exactly what we're going to uncover today as we explore the powerful ideas inside The Secret of the Millionaire. Now, I want you to imagine this for a second. Picture two people starting at the exact same place in life. Same education, same city, same opportunities. Fast forward 10 or 20 years, and one of them is living paycheck to paycheck, stressed about bills, while the other has built wealth, freedom, and confidence. What changed? It wasn't destiny. It wasn't magic. It was thinking. Because the truth is, wealth doesn't begin in your bank account. It begins in your mind. And this book reveals that the real secret of millionaires isn't a lottery win or a shortcut. It's a way of seeing the world that most people never learn. As we go through this summary together, you'll start to notice something fascinating. Millionaires don't just act differently, they believe differently. They see opportunities where others see obstacles. They make decisions based on long-term vision while most people react to short-term pressure. And once you understand how their mindset works, you start to realize that success isn't reserved for a special group of people. It's a skill. It's learnable. It's repeatable. That realization alone can be life-changing because it means your future isn't fixed. It's flexible. What makes this book so powerful is that it doesn't just talk about money. It talks about habits, discipline, fear, risk, confidence, and the silent beliefs we carry about success. Many of us grow up hearing things like, money is hard to earn, or rich people are lucky. Over time, those ideas sink deep into our subconscious, shaping our choices without us even realizing it. This book gently challenges those hidden beliefs and replaces them with ones that empower you instead of limit you. And when your beliefs change, your actions follow. When your actions change, your results change. That's the chain reaction that creates real transformation. You'll also discover that millionaires aren't fearless. They just understand fear differently. They don't wait for the perfect moment or perfect plan. They move forward even when they're uncertain, because they know that growth lives on the other side of discomfort. That lesson alone can shift the way you approach your goals, your career, and even your daily decisions. Instead of asking, what if I fail? You begin asking, what if this works? That small shift in perspective can open doors you didn't even know existed. So as you listen to this summary, don't just hear it like information. Hear it like a conversation with your future self, the version of you who is more confident, more focused, and more financially free. Let these ideas sink in. Let them challenge you. Let them inspire you. Because the secret of the millionaire isn't locked away in some exclusive club. It's hidden in plain sight, waiting for anyone willing to learn, apply, and believe. And who knows? By the time this video ends, you might realize that the distance between where you are now and where you want to be isn't as far as you once thought. It might just be one mindset away. The mindset of wealth. Let's start with something simple but powerful. Every result you see in life begins with the way someone thinks. Before the money, before the success, before the recognition, there is always a mindset. And according to The Secret of the Millionaire, this is where the real journey begins. Not in a bank account, not in a business deal, not even in a big opportunity. It begins quietly, inside your thoughts, in the beliefs you hold about money, success, and your own potential. Most people grow up without ever realizing that their financial life is shaped long before they earn their first paycheck. It's shaped by what they hear as kids, what they see adults do, and what they come to believe is normal. If someone grows up hearing that rich people are greedy or that money is always hard to earn, those ideas don't just disappear. They settle into the subconscious and start guiding decisions. The book explains that many people are trying to build wealth with a mindset that secretly pushes it away. It's like trying to drive forward with the brakes on. No matter how hard you try, something invisible keeps slowing you down. Millionaires, on the other hand, tend to share a different internal script. They don't see money as something negative or scarce. They see it as a tool, a resource, a result of value created. They believe wealth is possible, and that belief shapes how they act. When they face challenges, they don't immediately assume defeat. Instead, they ask themselves what they can learn, how they can adapt, and where the opportunity might be hiding. That's the difference. The average mindset reacts, but the wealthy mindset responds. What's fascinating is that this mindset isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. The book makes it clear that becoming financially successful isn't about changing who you are. It's about upgrading how you think. And once you understand that, something shifts inside you. You stop seeing successful people as different species and start seeing them as individuals who simply trained their minds in a certain direction. That realization is empowering because it means you can do the same. Another powerful idea introduced in this chapter is responsibility. Wealthy thinkers tend to take full ownership of their results. They don't blame the economy, their boss, or bad luck for where they are. Instead, they ask, "What can I do differently?" That question alone is incredibly powerful because it puts you back in control. When you believe your life is shaped by outside forces, you feel stuck. But when you believe your choices matter, you feel capable. Millionaires understand this deeply. They know that responsibility isn't a burden, it's freedom. The chapter also highlights how your environment influences your mindset. The people you spend time with, the conversations you hear, even the content you consume daily, all play a role in shaping your beliefs. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity or limitation, it becomes harder to think expansively. But when you expose yourself to growth-focused ideas, ambitious people, and inspiring stories, your thinking begins to stretch. And when your thinking stretches, your possibilities stretch with it. By the end of this first chapter, one message becomes crystal clear. Wealth is not just something you pursue, it's something you prepare for internally. Before your income grows, your thinking must grow. Before your results change, your perspective must change. The millionaire's secret isn't hidden in a vault or locked behind a secret code. It's hidden in plain sight, inside the patterns of thought that shape decisions every single day. And the most exciting part? If mindset is learned, it can also be relearned. Which means right now, at this very moment, you could already be standing at the starting line of a completely different financial future. You just might not have realized it yet. Habits that build fortunes. If mindset is the foundation of wealth, then habits are the bricks that build it. In this chapter, the secret of the millionaire shifts the focus from thinking to doing, because no matter how powerful your beliefs are, they only change your life when they turn into consistent action. And what's fascinating is that millionaires rarely rely on bursts of motivation or sudden inspiration. Instead, they rely on routines, small, repeated behaviors that quietly shape their success day after day. Most people imagine wealth as something dramatic, like a big break or a single brilliant decision. But the truth this book reveals is almost the opposite. Wealth is usually the result of ordinary actions done consistently over time. It's waking up a little earlier to learn something new. It's saving a portion of income before spending. It's reading when others scroll. These actions don't look impressive in the moment, and that's why most people underestimate them. But just like compound interest grows money, compound habits grow results. Over weeks, months, and years, small disciplines turn into massive differences. One of the most powerful lessons in this chapter is that successful people don't depend on willpower as much as they depend on systems. Willpower fades, emotions change, motivation rises and falls. But systems, daily structures and routines, keep you moving forward even on days when you don't feel like it. Millionaires understand this deeply. Instead of asking, "How do I stay motivated?" they ask, "How do I make success automatic?" That's why they design their environment and schedule in ways that make productive choices easier and unproductive ones harder. The book also highlights a truth that can be uncomfortable but incredibly freeing. Your current life is a reflection of your current habits. Not your intentions, not your dreams, not your plans, your habits. If someone wants a different future, they don't necessarily need a new goal. They need new daily behaviors. That idea shifts the focus away from wishing and toward practicing. Because habits are where transformation actually happens, quietly and steadily, often before anyone else notices. Another key difference the chapter points out is how millionaires treat time. While most people spend time first and think about it later, wealthy individuals tend to treat time like their most valuable asset. They're careful about where it goes. They invest it in learning, planning, building, and improving. They understand that money lost can be earned again, but time lost is gone forever. This awareness changes how they structure their days. They prioritize tasks that create long-term value instead of just short-term comfort. The chapter also emphasizes the importance of financial habits specifically. Wealthy individuals don't just earn differently, they manage differently. They track their money. They plan their spending. They invest regularly, even if the amount starts small. These habits create stability and growth over time. Meanwhile, people who struggle financially often aren't lacking intelligence or opportunity. They're lacking consistent financial routines. And the encouraging part is that routines can be learned by anyone willing to practice them. Perhaps the most inspiring message from this chapter is that habits don't need to start big to become powerful. In fact, the book stresses that tiny changes are often the most effective because they're easier to maintain. A small daily improvement may feel insignificant today, but over a year, it can completely reshape your direction. That's how fortunes are really built. Not overnight, but over time through actions so simple, they almost seem unimportant. Until one day, their results speak loudly. By the end of chapter 2, you begin to see that success isn't a mystery reserved for a lucky few. It's a pattern, and patterns can be copied. The habits that build fortunes aren't hidden secrets. They're daily choices, repeated long enough to turn discipline into destiny. And once you understand that, you realize something empowering. You don't have to wait for a life-changing opportunity to appear. You can start building one today, simply by changing what you do when no one is watching. Turning opportunities into gold. By now you've seen how mindset shapes direction and how habits build momentum. But there's another quality that separates those who dream about success from those who actually achieve it: the ability to recognize and act on opportunities. In The Secret of the Millionaire, this chapter reveals a powerful truth. Opportunities are everywhere, but not everyone sees them. And even when people do see them, very few have the courage or awareness to act before the moment passes. Most people think opportunities arrive like lightning bolts, sudden, obvious, impossible to miss. But in reality, they usually show up quietly, disguised as problems, risks, or extra work. The average person looks at a challenge and thinks, "Why is this happening to me?" A millionaire looks at the same situation and thinks, "What can I do with this?" That single shift in perspective changes everything. It transforms obstacles into openings and setbacks into stepping stones. The book explains that successful individuals train themselves to look beyond surface appearances. Where others see inconvenience, they see potential. Where others see uncertainty, they see possibility. This doesn't mean they're reckless or unrealistic. It means they've developed the habit of asking better questions. Instead of asking, "Is this safe?" they ask, "Is this worth exploring?" Instead of saying, "This might fail," they wonder, "What might this become?" These questions expand their vision and help them notice chances that most people overlook. One of the most eye-opening ideas in this chapter is that opportunity favors preparation. People often say someone was lucky, but what they don't see is the preparation behind that moment. When an opportunity appears, it usually rewards the person who has been quietly learning, practicing, and improving long before anyone was watching. To outsiders, it looks sudden. To the person who succeeds, It feels like a natural next step. Millionaires understand that preparation isn't wasted effort. It's stored potential waiting for the right moment to activate. The chapter also addresses fear, because opportunity and fear almost always arrive together. Any chance that can change your life will also carry uncertainty. That's why most people hesitate. They wait for guarantees, perfect timing, or reassurance from others. But those things rarely come. The book makes it clear that the difference isn't that millionaires don't feel fear. They absolutely do. The difference is that they don't let fear make their decisions. They acknowledge it, learn from it, and move forward anyway. In their minds, the risk of missing an opportunity is often greater than the risk of trying. Another important lesson here is that opportunities are rarely one-time events. They often multiply once you take the first step. Action creates momentum, and momentum attracts more possibilities. When you act, you meet new people, gain new skills, and discover new paths. But when you hesitate, doors quietly close. The world rewards motion. That's why wealthy thinkers focus less on perfection and more on progress. They understand that even an imperfect step forward can lead to something extraordinary. The chapter paints a vivid picture of life as a field filled with hidden doors. Some are obvious, but most are subtle, visible only to those who are paying attention. And attention itself is a skill. It grows when you stay curious, open-minded, and willing to learn. The more aware you become, the more opportunities you start to notice. Suddenly, what once looked like an ordinary world begins to feel full of possibilities waiting to be explored. By the end of this chapter, one idea stands out clearly. Opportunities don't just appear, they respond. They respond to your mindset, your preparation, your courage, and your willingness to act. The secret isn't finding a perfect opportunity. It's becoming the kind of person who recognizes one when it shows up. And once you develop that ability, life stops feeling limited. Instead, it starts to feel like an open landscape, filled with chances that were always there. You just needed the vision to see them. The power of smart decisions. At some point in life, everyone realizes that their future isn't shaped by one giant moment. It's shaped by thousands of small choices. In The Secret of the Millionaire, this chapter brings that realization into sharp focus by showing that wealth is not just the result of hard work or talent, but the result of decisions made consistently and wisely over time. Every financial success story, every breakthrough, every turning point can be traced back to a decision. And what separates millionaires from the rest isn't that they never make mistakes. It's that they make thoughtful choices more often than impulsive ones. Most people think decisions are about intelligence, but the book explains that they're really about awareness. Smart decision makers don't rush blindly, and they don't freeze in fear either. They pause, observe, and think ahead. They ask themselves questions that others rarely consider. What will this choice cost me later? Is this helping my future, or just pleasing my present? That habit of thinking beyond the moment gives them an enormous advantage, because life rewards those who can see further than today. One of the most powerful ideas in this chapter is that every decision carries a hidden price. Sometimes that price is time, sometimes energy, sometimes money, and sometimes opportunity. When people make careless choices, they usually focus only on what they gain right now. But millionaires train themselves to notice what they might be giving up in the long run. They understand that saying yes to one thing often means saying no to something else. This awareness makes their decisions more intentional, more strategic, and ultimately more rewarding. The book also reveals that successful decision-makers are not obsessed with being right. They're committed to improving. They don't see a wrong decision as failure. They see it as feedback. This mindset frees them from the fear that stops many people from acting. Instead of overthinking every option, they gather enough information, choose a direction, and then adjust as they go. In other words, they value progress over perfection, and that approach keeps them moving forward while others remain stuck in hesitation. Another lesson that stands out is how emotions influence choices. Everyone has moments when excitement, fear, anger, or impatience tries to take control. The difference is that wealthy thinkers don't let temporary feelings dictate permanent decisions. They've learned to pause when emotions run high and wait until their thinking is clear. This simple habit protects them from costly mistakes and allows logic, not impulse, to guide their actions. It's not that they don't feel emotions, it's that they don't let emotions drive. The chapter also highlights the role of information. Smart decisions come from understanding, and understanding comes from learning. Millionaires tend to research before committing, ask questions before agreeing, and listen carefully before responding. They treat knowledge like an investment, knowing that the more they understand, the better their choices become. Over time, this habit compounds just like money in a well-managed account. Each informed decision builds on the last, creating a strong foundation for future success. Perhaps the most inspiring message here is that decision-making is a skill anyone can strengthen. It's not reserved for geniuses or experts. Like a muscle, it grows with practice. The more you think carefully about your choices, the more natural, wise decisions become. And as your decisions improve, so does your direction in life. Slowly but surely, your path begins to change, not because of luck, but because of intention. By the end of chapter 4, you start to see that success isn't random at all. It's the result of choices stacked on top of choices, each one shaping the next. Millionaires understand that while they can't control everything that happens to them, they can control how they respond. And that control, the power to choose wisely, consistently, and courageously, is one of the greatest advantages anyone can have. Because when your decisions improve, your life inevitably follows. Secrets to lasting success. As The Secret of the Millionaire reaches its final chapter, it shifts from the excitement of building success to something even more meaningful: keeping it. Because achieving wealth is one challenge, but sustaining it is another story entirely. Many people rise quickly only to fall just as fast, and this chapter explains why. Lasting success, the book reveals, isn't about one victory or one breakthrough. It's about stability, character, and the kind of growth that continues long after the first milestone is reached. One of the first truths this chapter emphasizes is that real success is never static. It doesn't sit still, and it doesn't maintain itself automatically. Just like a garden needs regular care, success needs attention, discipline, and renewal. Millionaires understand that reaching a goal is not the finish line. It's the starting point of a new level of responsibility. Instead of relaxing after they win, they evolve. They keep learning, keep improving, and keep refining their strategies. This constant growth mindset protects them from the complacency that causes many people to lose what they once gained. The book also highlights humility as a hidden strength behind long-term success. While the world often associates wealth with pride, truly successful individuals tend to stay grounded. They know that arrogance closes doors while humility opens them. When you stay humble, you remain teachable. You listen more, you observe more, you adapt faster. And in a world that's always changing, adaptability is one of the most valuable traits anyone can have. Millionaires who last are not the ones who think they know everything. They're the ones who never stop learning. Another powerful idea explored here is purpose. Money alone is rarely enough to sustain motivation for a lifetime. The people who maintain success over decades usually have something deeper driving them, a reason beyond profit. It might be a mission, a passion, a desire to create impact, or a commitment to helping others. That deeper purpose acts like fuel that never runs out. When challenges come, and they always do, purpose keeps them moving forward when motivation fades. It reminds them why they started and why they should continue. This chapter also talks about relationships, something many people overlook when thinking about wealth. Lasting success is rarely achieved alone. Behind almost every long-term achiever is a network of supportive, inspiring, and trustworthy people. Millionaires understand that who you surround yourself with shapes how far you go. They value partnerships, mentorship, and meaningful connections. They don't just build financial capital, they build social capital. And often those relationships become the bridge to their biggest opportunities. There's also a lesson here about balance. The book makes it clear that true success isn't just financial, it's personal, emotional, and mental as well. Some people chase money so intensely that they sacrifice health, peace, or relationships along the way. But lasting success means creating a life that feels fulfilling, not just impressive. Millionaires who thrive long-term tend to protect their time, take care of their well-being, and make space for the people and experiences that truly matter. They understand that wealth should support life, not replace it. Perhaps the most reassuring message in this final chapter is that success is not a single destination. It's a journey that keeps unfolding. There's always another level of growth, another lesson to learn, another way to improve. And that's not something to fear. It's something to appreciate. Because it means life never becomes stagnant. There's always room to expand, to evolve, and to become more than you were yesterday. As the book closes, it leaves you with a powerful realization. The secret of the millionaire was never just about money. It was about mindset, habits, courage, decisions, and purpose, all working together to create a life of intention and possibility. And the most inspiring part is that none of these qualities are locked away from you. They're not reserved for a select few. They're available to anyone willing to grow, to learn, and to act. In the end, lasting success isn't a mystery, it's a pattern. And now that you've seen that pattern, you hold something incredibly valuable. The awareness that the same principles shaping extraordinary lives can also shape yours. The only question left is simple, yet powerful. What will you do with what you've learned? Books can change your mindset, and mindset can change your life. Subscribe to Bookpedia World and keep growing. See you soon.